That was nerve-wracking. I had to hold it. It's quite a heavy spoiler. So that last cut, holding it, we got it off, no damage. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be looking at finalising the Skyline. I'm hoping to get the car complete today so I can get this car done and out and back to the customer. I'm running out of room. It's getting very hard to operate at the moment. I've also got to get stuck into that CRX shell that's sitting still in bare metal. The sooner I can get to that and get that into epoxy, the better off I'll be. I won't have to continually wipe it down, get rid of the surface rust. It's a constant battle for me at the moment. So hopefully today we can get the rear wing done, finish off the rear bumper, and then move on to paint correcting the front bumper, cleaning up the side skirts, the side skirt end caps, and mounting all these parts up, getting the door handles together and putting them on. And then hopefully we are done. And I can move this car out of here and then continue on with what I love doing, working on CRXs. I've also got another couple of projects that I've got on the go, which is why I'm pushing to get this car out so quickly. I'm going to look at getting some sort of a room in the front of the factory here, just like a 4x4 or 4x5 meter, just so I've got somewhere to work or even do my motor build, so it's a clean room. And then rearranging the factory and looking at getting all the parts down for the next CRX restoration project so that I can start working out and cleaning up all of those parts and start preparing them for flocking, interior. I'll be showing you how I do my interiors with the Alcantara as well. So I'm looking at turning this area here from the edge of the door here about 4 meters out and across, just building like a room where I can work, do my paperwork, whatever, and also do motor builds. And also even look at maybe even turning it into like a waiting room for customers for my day-to-day job. I've also got a signage company that's going to be coming to do the front windows and everything, which I've always wanted to have, so it looks more like a proper business. Looks a bit bland out the front at the moment, just to spice it up a little bit. Then I also need to look at getting, as I said, getting all these parts down from up there and then down in the side here, which are undercover at the moment, and sorting through all of those and getting a lot of the stuff that I've already prepared for that CRX shell, like these doors. Yeah, so I've already epoxy primed the doors and they've all been corrected so that they're straight. There was a point where I had the doors out when I'd finished them out the front and we had a huge gust of wind and they actually blew them over and damaged them. So I had to completely repair those doors and then epoxy prime them again. You didn't see that, but I'd like to get those doors onto the car after I've epoxy primed the rest of the car. So yeah, moving forward in today's episode, I'm going to start and hopefully get all of the Skyline back together. Rear bumper is done. Now I've just got to do either side of those flatter areas, going over that paint correction process. I'm probably sure you're sick of hearing me saying paint correction process. So I'll zoom through most of this today. I'll just show you the parts that I'm talking about now. So these flat sides down here on both sides of the car. Shouldn't take too long. But yeah, that should finish up the rear bumper. Then I can start moving on to either the front bumper or the wing, just depending on how I feel next. Wing is mounted still on the horse mount from after respraying it. I had to actually weld screw bolts onto the horse so I could mount the wing so I had good support and be able to paint both sides. Rear bumper is complete. Now I want to look at working on the rear wing. So I've got to get it off the mount that I had it on so I could spray it, so I could get to both sides of the spoiler at the same time. Because you can't do a spoiler half-half, because what you end up having is a ridge. You don't want that along the top and the bottom. So it had to be done all consistently in one even spray. So I'll show you how I mounted that up. So I used threaded rods to match the thread that goes into the mount. So I've just welded those on. Now I've got to actually grind them off so that I can remove the wing and then start paint correction process on this. I'm very nervous about doing this because I'm here on my own. I've got no one else to hold it while I'm doing the cutting. I'm gonna have to sort of jimmy it up on my shoulder and hold it while I grind at the same time, being very careful not to get those grinding splatters and everything onto the wing. I might cover it up just to protect it, wrap it around with some of the rugs that I've got here, and then at least if it does drop accidentally, there's some protection for it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I'll get into cutting that off now. That was nerve-wracking. I had to hold it. It's quite a heavy spoiler. So that last cut, holding it, we've got it off. No damage. Got to remove those threaded rods now. And they're stuck in there from the paint. So I'm gonna have to use like a pair of pliers or something just to quickly release that first part, and then they should come out pretty easily. You're probably saying to yourself, hey Matt, why don't you mount the wing and then buff it on the car? Problem with that is that once it's mounted, you're upside down to paint correct the underneath. So doing it this way, it's a lot easier. I don't want to break my back buffing underneath if it was mounted. So I'm going to do both sides of this, buff that up, and then move on to the wing mounts, do the paint correction process on those. I'm also going to be using the small 3-inch buff for this too, because I have done wings in the past, have been very cautious in the way I've done them this way, taking them off the car and one side, then the other. But with the big buff, last time I did this, the buff grabbed and the wing went flying across the floor and scratched the entire paint job. Don't want that to happen, so I'm going to be very cautious again, take my time with that small buff to get this up to a good shine. Time for the wing mounts. I'm not going to go too crazy on these because they're pretty much perfect. I'm just correcting a few little spots where I've got particles that have landed. I'll quickly get those done and then we can look at mounting the wing. Okay, wing supports are done, all buffed. Now I've got to look at putting all of it together. Now, I didn't know how this all went together, but I found some parts that look like inner support structures that go inside. So I think that this goes into here. Getting the right one helps. Into here. So it slides into there, then through here it's bolted up and then down into the wing, and then the wing is bolted up from underneath the boot lid from these. I'm going to put some double-sided tape. I've found some double-sided tape that's been left behind on the internal support, so I'm going to put that down as well because it looks like it's a protective layer in between the paint. Aha! So they were actually, when I received the wing from the customer, they were actually screwed in to the wing, and I'd put my side on top of the other CRX with the door handles and things like that. So they were already there ready to go. They're quite shallow, but they've also got the space that sort of spaces the distance between the internal structure and then the mount and then into the wing. So I'll get those in now, but before I do that, I'm actually going to put the double-sided tape along the bottom of these, because once these are in, it's too hard to get that double-sided tape in there. So I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so let's get this bad boy on there. I'm really not a massive spoiler lover. I like my cars sleek, hence CRXs with bobtails, very sleek style spoiler. But I think the R34 tends itself to really need a rear wing and definitely pops on this car, especially with the Harlequin and everything. All the contours and the light reflections that you get out of this color. This car looks amazing now. Pretty easy install, but kind of scary at the same time. It could have slipped on me. I was pushing my limits, but I got it on there and it is looking hot. So now let's get the door handles on. I've got to put them together, and when I pulled them apart, there's like a black gasket that goes in between the actual handle holder and the door. The customer, when they had attempted to do all their preparation beforehand, has got priming overspray all over that part. So when I've released them, I've taken them apart, looked at it, and I'm like, that part is not actually meant to be painted. It's meant to be just be black. It's a gasket, as I said. So I'll show you what he's done. This is the gasket. So you can see he's primed and got primer all over that edge. was a painful process. Getting all that primer off the edge of the gasket, around that edge, which wasn't meant to be primed at all, was quite painful to get off. Then putting them back together with those pins, not an easy job. But taking them apart and doing it properly is definitely the better way to go to get the better finish on the edges. So I'll just go ahead and put the door handles in now, and then we'll get cracking into that front bumper. The customer didn't give me the locks, so I don't have them to put in, obviously, so I'll just mount them up without. They can always be put in afterwards. Okay, so that's one on. I'll just quickly give it a run over with the buff. So just need to give it a quick buff now, and then I'll get onto the front bumper. Now we can open doors. Last but not least, the front bumper. I'll grab that now, it's covered in dust, so I'll clean that up. And then I'm going to paint correct it off the vehicle because there's too many curves and everything all over the bar. It's a crazy bumper, there's a lot going on. I remember that I did have a lot of dry spray on that bottom part of the bumper on the intake. I reckon with the front bumper I'm going to be jumping from the 6-inch and the 3-inch DA quite a bit because there's only so many spots that I can fit the 6-inch DA in, so I'll be swapping out. The 6-inch does do a lot more area, which keeps the flat surface consistent around those bits. So with the 3-inch you need to constantly keep moving it so you keep a consistent flat surface. Hence when they come to reflection in the light, you don't get a little bit of this sort of flow through the clear. I'll get into paint correcting as much of this as I can with the 3-inch and the 6-inch DA, and hopefully we can get this in today. So working on the front bumper, I've discovered a run and it's in a really awkward spot. So this is the method that I use to scrape that down. So, because if you went to sand it and just consistently move over it, you'll go through this clear on either side before you actually get the run down to the same level. So what you do is you get a razor blade and you tape off the edges. This has to be super sharp razor blade. And you tape up the edges so the corners don't actually score into the rest of the bodywork. And it just gives that tiny little lift to keep working on it. You just gradually keep scraping at it like this. Take your time, don't rush it. It's gonna take a while, but you don't want to scrape it that hard that you go through the clear and then you have to respray again. It happens to all panel beaters, all spray painters as well. They do get these. No one's perfect, and this has been a method for years to remove them. So it's a very awkward position for me at the moment. So I'll get into continually, gradually bringing that down. So you can see there, it's starting to scrape through that top edge. You just get it down to the same level. Because it's in a corner curve, it's an extremely hard one to get to. It's pretty much one of the hardest runs ever. So yeah, just scraping up and down and gradually getting it to the same level. And you'll see when you get it down to the same level, because you'll start scraping into the side of the run. Then from that point out, 2000 grit, blah, blah, blah. To stop because this blade is too wide to follow that curve properly. So I've just cut a razor blade pretty much in half and then taped up the edges there so I can get into that smaller spot. This is going to be even slower again, but I don't want to risk going through that clear. So you can see I'm getting the run down, but I'm actually also digging into over this side with the edge of the razor blade. So I've got it a fair way down. We've just got a little bit of a raised edge there. You can see where it's more of a gloss. That's where that edge of that run is. So what I'm going to do now is try and get this down to a level with some 1000 grit sandpaper, because it's getting to the point now where if I push this too hard and I go through, I've got to respray the whole bumper bar. So I'm using warm water and I'm just folding the sandpaper over quite a few times just to create a curve so I can work in that edge. And warm water is the best because cold water sort of makes it harder to move the sandpaper across. I'm just going to slowly just work on that run. It's an extremely awkward spot. It's an extremely awkward spot, but hopefully just gradually I can get that down. And just remember, 1000 grit for how fine it is actually can move through clear very, very fast. I'll just keep wiping it just to check where I'm at. You can see here at least those scratches that I've created are actually going away. But this run, as stubborn as it is, and of course, in the last part that I have to do, there's always an issue. Slowly but surely getting there. I'll tell you what, I am very stressed at the moment right now. Especially when it's so close to getting the car completed. It's one little thing like this that can turn your whole day into a nightmare. I've got it. And this is just from experience, but when you actually do take your time and just, I know sometimes you can be a bit impatient when you get a paint job like this. It's starting to come together. But you spend that little bit of extra time, in the end you are going to be a lot more satisfied with what you've got. Just get it to focus in on that bumper flare. There you go. So you can see there, it's not perfect, but I'm also going to be hitting this with 3,000 and 5,000. So I don't want to push it too far, but you can see there I have actually got that run down. Definite fine line to pushing that clear too hard and just going through and then to the base coat. Okay, so now that problem child's gone, stupid little run, drive me nuts. I'll move on to continually paint correcting the front bumper, and then hopefully nothing else arises and we can just get it done and get it on the car. See that I've got to most of the flat areas and paint corrected those in 2000 grit. Done the best I can with such an intricate bumper bar to get as much as I could. The most stressful part is over. I've got most of the areas that I can get to on the front bumper down to 2000 grit. Now I've just got the process of the 3000 and 5000 and buff. So I know I'm very safe now to continue on with what I'm doing. Final stretch. Looking forward to getting this thing on and done, finalized, and I think I'll be a happy camper. It's been a long process, this car. I've had this car for over a year. Because I only get to work on this vehicle on weekends, and then with family and commitments and all that sort of stuff, sometimes only one day a week. It's taken a long time, but to me, if you add up all the days that I've actually been working on it, I've actually done this in a very, very good timeline. So let's get this baby back together and have a look at it complete. I'll go through the next stage of the front bumper, and then we can get into having a good look. I can't wait to get this car out in the sunlight either. Once again, Melbourne weather, it's terrible weather again at the moment. Getting this car outside after all this work, I don't want to risk getting it wet and having to clean it all up again before I hand it over to the customer, but I do want to see this car in direct sunlight. So hopefully we get a good sunny day over the next couple of days and I can bring it out and I can show you and do a walk around of the vehicle. final step, let's buff. Front bumper is pretty much done. It's hard to see in this light. There's still a few little matte spots that I think I've missed, but I don't want to push it too far in this light. So I'm going to leave it there so I can look at getting the front bumper on. If I remember correctly, because I've looked at this car a lot, the owner, when they were doing their own prep work, actually got primer over all the headlights, both the headlights. So I want to fix it up for him, be a nice guy. So I'm going to push the car back, get to the front end, and then look at cleaning up those headlights, and then I can get that front bumper on. what I'm talking about. All the overspray of the primer and plus yellowing of the headlight. It does not look good. Generally an easy fix. Not as bad on this side. I'll just quickly get that done and hopefully we can get that front bumper on. Those headlights are stuffed. Something on the inside is also causing a matte finish, so I can't exactly get them up to a high gloss. I'm not going to spend much time on them because it's really not part of my job for this project. So now I'm going to look at getting the front bumper on. Well, that big reveal was a bit of a letdown. Obviously the customer's never had this bar fitted. It's still got the GT front crash support. He's obviously going to have to build some brackets or work something else out. Maybe get the GTR crash bar. Humongous day for me. So I will end the video here. I know I did promise you that we'd have a big reveal and it'd all be done. There's still a few things for me to work over, just some little spots to rectify. Also, I've got to completely detail the body again and polish it, and then it'll be done. So stay tuned to the next episode to see the big reveal, and then we'll be moving forward and back into the CRX restoration and time attack build. Don't forget to subscribe because it helps out the channel. Till next time.